Hello there, everybody. This is Jeremy. By now, all of you have heard what happened yesterday about the unfortunate, tragic passing of actor and martial arts icon Chuck Norris. Passed away at the age of 86. So, if you guys remember, the last time something like this happened was when George Wendt passed away. For those of you who remember, George Wendt was Norman Peterson, who on Cheers. So the way I celebrated his death was drinking a beer, but this doesn't qualify for this. So I had an idea. So I looked up these interesting facts about Chuck Norris. I thought I would read them as a tribute to him. Now, these are probably all true, no matter how ridiculous they are. So, the first one is, Chuck Norris doesn't wear a watch. He decides what time it is. Chuck Norris cannot turn left, because he is always right. It's probably true. Chuck Norris doesn't read books. He stares them down until he gets the information he wants. Chuck Norris doesn't tip the waiter. The waiter tips him. Chuck Norris's tears cure cancer. Too bad he's never cried. Chuck Norris does not own a stove, oven, or microwave, because revenge is a dish best served cold. If rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, and paper beats rock, what beats all three of them at the same time? Chuck Norris. Time waits for no man, unless that man is Chuck Norris. When Chuck Norris left home, he told his father, "You're the man of the house now." Chuck Norris destroyed the periodic table, because Chuck Norris only recognizes the element of surprise. Chuck Norris doesn't do a push-up. He pushes the world down. That's definitely true. Chuck Norris has to sleep with the lights on, because the dark is afraid of him. Oh, this one's one of my favorites. When the boogeyman goes to sleep, he checks under his bed for Chuck Norris. When Chuck Norris goes swimming, sharks get out of the ocean. The clouds don't rain. They sweat when they see Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris doesn't worry about high gas prices. His vehicles run on fear. When Chuck Norris cooks, he makes the onion cry. Chuck Norris can sneeze with his eyes open. Well, that's true, so can I, but when that happens, little sparkles show up in front of my eyes. True story. When Chuck Norris looks in a mirror, the mirror shatters, because not even glass is dumb enough to get in between Chuck Norris and Chuck Norris. Ghosts tell Chuck Norris stories at the campfire. Chuck Norris has counted to infinity. Twice. Outer space exists because it's afraid to be in the same planet with Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris beat the sun in a staring contest. Ugh. Once, a cobra bit Chuck Norris's leg. After 5 days of excruciating pain, The Cobra died. Chuck Norris can divide by 0. Chuck Norris's calendar goes straight from March 31st to April 2nd. No one fools Chuck Norris. There is no theory of evolution, just a list of creatures Chuck Norris allows to live. Chuck Norris can start a fire by rubbing 2 ice cubes together. I agree. If you spell Chuck Norris in Scrabble, you win. Forever. Chuck Norris can do a wheelie on a unicycle. True. Oh, apparently Chuck Norris can fold a fitted sheet. When Chuck Norris makes a mistake, the mistake apologizes. Fire doesn't burn Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris burns fire. Chuck Norris doesn't need a keyboard. He tells the computer to write something and it does. Chuck Norris has been to Mars. That's why there's no sign of life. Chuck Norris doesn't get sunburned. That would be a foolish thing for the sun to do. There is no chin underneath Chuck Norris's beard. There's only another fist. The sun rises and sets according to Chuck Norris's sleep schedule. Chuck Norris got pulled over by the police once. He let the cop go with a warning. Chuck Norris doesn't have to mow his lawn. The grass is afraid to grow. The only time Chuck Norris was wrong was when he thought he made a mistake. When Chuck Norris looks in the mirror, there is no reflection, because there is only one Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris had a stunt double. He was used for crying scenes. Chuck Norris didn't dial the wrong number. You picked up the wrong phone. They once named a street after Chuck Norris, but they had to change the name because nobody crosses Chuck Norris and lives to tell about it. Chuck Norris built the hospital he was born in. Chuck Norris caught COVID-19. Now the virus has to quarantine. How many push-ups can Chuck Norris do? All of them. Oh, this one's interesting. Chuck Norris once sued NBC, claiming that Law and Order was the trademark name of his right and left legs. Legends live forever. Chuck Norris lives longer. And finally, Chuck Norris didn't die. Death finally had the courage to meet him. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And to Chuck Norris, may you rest in peace. And I pray that you are with Lord Jesus as of this morning. Cheers.